Hey guys, I just wanted to create a quick beginner kind of tutorial video on how to use Robinhood to trade stock options effectively. I know a lot of beginners use Robinhood because of the commission-free trading. It has a nice and clean interface. It has a mobile app, which is also relatively useful. I will say there are pros and cons to Robinhood, and their claim of commission-free trading is not entirely true. And I say that because, yes, Robinhood does not charge any commissions, but every brokerage, including Robinhood, charges a few pennies per transaction. So for stock options, it's like 2 or 3 cents per trade in SEC commission fees and I believe FINRA fees. So yes, they don't charge a commission, but you are still getting charged a couple pennies per trade. So it's not completely zero. And I just want you guys to be aware of that because not a lot of people know that. So getting started, if you were to create a Robinhood account, you're going to have to first enable options trading, and you're going to have to go through the questionnaire and answer a few questions. And if Robinhood feels you're safe enough and you're secure enough to trade options, they'll give you different levels of options trading. If you're a beginner, I would highly recommend just starting off with selling options and not buying options, because when you buy options, yes, you're kind of trying to hit home runs. You're chasing unlimited profit potential, and you might think that it's better because your losses are limited to how much you pay for the options. But the catch is, when you buy options, you have a very high reward, but your risk is, although it's not very high, there's a very low likelihood of you actually getting those high rewards. So to make a baseball analogy, it's the same as every time you go up to the plate, you just swing as hard as you can and try to hit a home run. So yeah, maybe 10% of the time, if you do that, you're going to hit a home run. But the other 90% of the time, you're going to strike out. And that's kind of what happens when you buy options, in that you will have a couple big profits here and there, but the majority of the time, you're going to end up taking a lot of small losses. Whereas when you sell options, it's a bit of the opposite. So selling options would be like every time you go up to the plate when you're playing baseball, to just get singles. And then just, you're consistently on base, you're consistently making profit. So selling options would be to consistently sell options and consistently make small profits. And if you do it right, you should be able to limit your large losses. So it's kind of the 180-degree opposite of buying options. And that's what Theta Gang is all about. It's about selling options to get consistent small profits, week after week or month after month or trade after trade, and to slowly build up your portfolio that way, and to have a somewhat steady, secondary income source. Some people, if you build up enough capital and your portfolio is big enough, and depending on your expenses, you may be able to do this full time at some point if you can develop a good strategy, develop a good system, and just do it consistently. So getting back to the Robinhood interface, once you log into Robin, your main homepage is going to look something like this, where you have your daily or weekly or monthly chart, however you like to look at it. You'll have your portfolio balance. You'll have a little bit of news at the bottom, but in my opinion, the news on Robinhood is not very great. You're going to want to use other websites for your stock news, in my opinion. And on the right side is going to have your watch list. And so you can add or delete or have as many stocks on your watch list as you want. But the way I have it set up is I have a list of about 20 or so stocks that I like to trade options on. So rather than me having to sift through and looking for stocks every single week, I just develop my core group of stocks that I just want to keep tabs on. And I tend not to trade any stocks that are outside my watch list. So I have a very curated watch list. And if you go back on my channel, I have a video from a while back about how I chose the stocks that I like to trade on. And it's based on liquidity, long-term potential, how stable the company is, and things like that, and also based on the price. So in a perfect world, you're going to want to have a good variety of stocks, meaning you want different sectors. So you don't want all tech stocks or all banking stocks, for example, because you want to be diversified in the options plays you make. But also, you want to have a good variety of stock prices, meaning you don't want to have all $100 stocks, because then let's say you only have $5,000 left in your portfolio and you want to make a trade on a, let's say, cash secured put, you're not going to be able to do that because all of your stocks are too pricey. So I like to have a good range. So if you can see, I have stocks ranging from about $40 to almost $2,000 in terms of Amazon and Google. I mean, those are just reach stocks, and those are stocks that I like to keep tabs on just to see what they're doing. But I mean, I have enough space, which is $15. So my range is from $15 to $2,600. So this is just a good idea of how I like to trade, because I like to keep things simple and kind of curated and tight and efficient. So every week or every weekend, I quickly look at my watch list, see what the stocks are doing, and come up with potential plays for the coming week. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want the market open on Monday at 9:30 a.m. and then now I'm sifting through hundreds of stocks and I'm going through screeners and I'm just kind of chasing things without a clear strategy or plan. This keeps me focused and lets me have a set number of stocks I would look at that potentially or hopefully have been good to me over time, and companies that I believe in. So that significantly limits the amount of research I have to do every week, and the amount of news I have to look into and technical analysis and things. So this is the strategy that's been working for me so far. So I would recommend you creating a stock list or a watch list of a bunch of stocks. I would say maybe 20 or so that you like to trade options on, or that you're thinking about trading options on, and that are also within your budget. And like I said, have a good variety of different sectors, a good variety of different prices as well. And that should form you a good basis for getting started with stock options trading. So from then, let's say you want to place a trade now. You want to open up your first options trade. So I would go and pick a stock. Let's say you're really bullish on AMD. So AMD recently announced that they're going to be supplying the chips for the PS5 and I believe the new Xbox. And in general, AMD has been really taking it to Intel lately in terms of outperforming their processors and also at a cheaper price. So I have a very bullish outlook on AMD personally. So let's just say you want to trade options on AMD. So we can see in the past day, AMD kind of lost a little bit of money, right? It opened up at around $54.44. It closed the day $54.22. So a little bit in the red. And so how can we use that to our advantage? Well, the first thing you're going to want to do is once you click on the stock, such as AMD, on Robinhood, you'll see a little bit of data on the stock. So just in terms of categories, you can see it has a female CEO. It's actually 100 most popular stocks on Robinhood, and it's in the manufacturing sector. So you get to know a little bit about the stock and the company. You can see that right now, 48% of analysts rate AMD as a hold. So you can use this data how you like. I mean, not all the analysts are going to be correct, right? So this is close to 50%. So that just tells you that half the analysts that have looked at AMD are saying you should hold the stock. So they're not saying buy it, they're not saying sell it. They're just saying if you have it, just hold on to it. And on Robinhood, right now, 224,748 people own AMD. So again, I mean, take that for what you want. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a good stock or bad stock. It just means it's a popular stock. And then again, you can see the daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, even 5-year charts on AMD. And so you can see, this is what I like to see when I'm picking a stock to trade options on, is that when I go to the 5-year chart, it's consistently growing. Yes, it has dips every now and then, but it's consistently growing. So that tells me that this is a good company. Because if I get assigned shares and I have to hold the stock, at least I'm somewhat comforted in that I know that the stock is going to keep going up over time. So this is what I like to see, and this is one of the factors I look at when I initially pick the stocks to put on my watch list. And if you've watched my previous videos, AMD is one of my more favorite stocks right now to trade options on, and has been good to me over the past couple weeks and months. So you can go to the About section as well, and it'll tell you a little bit about the company and what it does. If you're not familiar with it, you can actually click read more and you get even more information, more historical information as well. It tells you who the CEO is, the market cap, and it'll also tell you what the 52-week high and low are. So over the past year, it looks like AMD is traded as low as $27.43 and traded as high as $59.27. tells you where it's headquartered. So is it US based or is it offsite or overseas? It tells you what the average volume is. And this is another factor that I use when I pick stocks, in that you want stocks to be very liquid, meaning you want them to have a very high volume. So that's another factor. If you go back to my previous videos, you'll see that I look for when I pick stocks. So again, in this collections section, you'll see what categories this stock falls under. So it falls under the female CEO, 100 most popular, manufacturing, it's in electronics and semiconductors more specifically, video games, engineering, technology. And if you're interested, for example, let's say you want to invest in more stocks that are related to video games. You can actually click on this bubble and it will take you to a page that shows you all the different stocks that are associated with video games. So Disney, Microsoft, Amazon, AMD. You can see actually all 4 of these are on my watch list. This is I'm following them. Zynga, Nvidia, Dave & Buster's, and so on. And you can actually see the analyst ratings. So right now, let's say I want to sort by the analyst ratings. If I click on it, so right now there's this company called Every, which I've never heard of, but right now 100% of analysts are saying buy. 52,000 people own it on Robinhood right now. It's currently trading at $5.80. Has a relatively small market cap at 500 million compared to like Amazon, which is 1.3 trillion, or Microsoft, which is almost 1.5 trillion. But it gives you a quick overview of different stocks that are in that sector. So that's another good way to use Robinhood to search or discover other stocks in a sector that you might be interested in. Have a little bit of news here as well. And then here's the analyst breakdown. So right now, out of 40 analysts, 45% say buy, 48% say hold, and 8% say sell. So it seems like people are right now neutral to bullish on AMD, right? Because the majority of people, almost 50-50, are saying buy versus hold. And it gives you a little blurb in terms of an argument about what people are saying. So the bullish people are saying that AMD's recent CPU and GPU offerings have been more competitive with Intel. The bears, or the naysayers, are saying that Intel still remains the dominant player in the processor market and holds long-term potential. So, you can kind of see and read both sides of the story here. And this was published on Morningstar. Actually, they both were very recently on June 5th. Next, we can see earnings for the chart. And you can see that you'll see what the estimated earnings were in the dark blue, and you can barely see it because AMD has been pretty much very close to the estimated earnings. And then the more brighter colored dot is the expected value, or the actual value, I should say. So you can see that on Q1 2019, the actual value was a little bit higher than the estimated value, so it beat earnings. Most other times, it's actually been very close and pretty much spot on in terms of their estimated earnings per share. And lastly, in this category, you can see what other stocks that people have bought in addition to AMD. So you can see that people bought related stocks. So people that were invested in AMD also bought Micron, Intel, Microsoft, and or Nvidia. So again, this is another way that you can find similar stocks in that category or that sector that you're interested in. So that's just a quick way to learn about the stock on Robinhood. But like I said, if you use additional websites, you can get even more in-depth data and analysis. But at a quick glance, Robinhood presents it in a very clean and efficient way. And one other thing that if you're not aware of, if you just drag your mouse on this chart, you'll just see the price changes fluctuating day by day. It doesn't give you a lot of information besides the price changes. However, on desktop, if you click expand here, you'll get taken to this disclaimer, and you're just going to click review to get access to it. You're going to hit you understand. And what now you're going to see is you're going to see the volume at the bottom of the chart here. So this is the 1-day chart, and you can see that at 4:00 p.m. on the last trading day, there was a big volume of buy orders that came in. That's why it's green. Green is buy orders, red is sell orders. So at 4 p.m., a lot of people, or there was a lot of volume, and actually in the top left corner, you can see that there was 6.06 million shares or orders put in at a price of $54.22 at 4 p.m. But as you can see throughout the day, the volume was relatively low, and you can see the volume fluctuating along with the share price in the top left corner. So the other thing you can do in this view is change the view from a line graph to a candlestick graph. And if you're not familiar with candlesticks, what these represent, so right now, since we're on the daily chart here, each candlestick, and you can see by the bottom, represents 5 minutes. So this candlestick is 1:55, this is 2 o'clock, this is 2:05, and 2:10, and so on. And what the candlestick represents is the price range in terms of highs and lows in that 5-minute window, and also where the stock opened and closed in that 5-minute window. So for example, if we take a look at this candlestick here at 12:20 p.m., you can see it has a very long wick on the bottom and on the top. So what that means is that in that 5-minute window, the stock traded as low as this value and as high as this value. However, in that 5-minute window, the stock opened at the top of the candlestick and closed at the bottom of the candlestick here in terms of the share price. And I know that because the candlestick is red. So red means that the stock price went down in that 5-minute window. Whereas in the next 5 minutes, again, the stock price was as low as this wick here, as high as this wick here. But because the candlestick is green, I know that the stock opened down here at the bottom of the candle and closed up here at the top of the candle. The stock gained in price in that 5-minute window. So that's a quick way, or a quick tutorial on how to interpret the candlestick charts. But I like to personally look at the line charts because it's rather easy to understand, and I don't personally day trade, so I don't care too much about the wicks and the candles. But that's a way to get more information on Robinhood. But like I said, if you use other websites such as tradingview.com or thinkorswim or any other platform, you're going to get much more options available in terms of technical analysis and indicators, such as the RSI or the MACD or the DMI or the Bollinger Bands, whatever you like to use. So that's why I'd recommend also using additional websites if you have the time to do your research. But Robinhood, again, presents you with a quick and dirty and pretty efficient way to look at a stock. So now let's say you are ready to trade stock options. So the next step you're going to do is you're going to click Trade AMD Options here in the bottom right corner. And again, if you don't see this option or this box here, that means you have not been approved to trade stock options. So you have to go back and through your settings and make sure you get approved to trade options. So once you click this button here, you're going to be taken to what we call the options chain for AMD. And you can see right now we're in AMD. The current stock price is $53.99, which is actually down 0.09%. And right now, this is the key area at the top in terms of how you're going to choose which option position you want to open. So the first decision you're going to make is, do you want to buy options or do you want to sell options? And so like I said, I think for beginners, it's going to be best to start with selling options. And as you can see, the label at the top changes depending on what I click to make sure you're in the right category. So we're going to click sell options. And then the next decision you're going to make is, do you want to sell a call or do you want to sell a put? I personally like to trade the wheel strategy. So what that means is I like to open my positions by selling puts. So we're going to start by selling a put. And again, you can see the label changes here to AMD sell put, just to confirm that you're looking at the right category. Now, if you've noticed, when I went from call to put, the colors changed from red to green. All that means is that currently the values for selling calls are going down, meaning you can see the percent change is -6%, -12%, -17%. So much like how a stock price is red when its share price is going down, the option prices or premiums are also red when they're going down. But when I click on put, they change to green because these are actually going up. And individually, in terms of each individual option, you can see that they are also individually red and green because they went up or down. So for example, the $49 strike price is down 16%, and so that's why its premium is colored in red, whereas the $46 strike price is actually up 12.5%, and that's why its premium is colored in green. So one thing you're going to make sure you do is when you're selecting which option you want to open a position on the desktop application and also on the mobile application, you can click on each individual strike price to get more information. So let's say in terms of selling a put, I was interested in the $52 strike price, and I would collect 63 cents per share, but since every contract is by default 100 shares and you cannot change that, I would collect 63 cents times 100 because I have 100 shares, which would equal $63. So if I want to learn more information about this option in terms of what the Greeks are, what the volume is, what the open interest is, all you have to do is just click on it and it will expand the window and you will get more information. So right now I can see that the strike price is $52. The break-even price is $51.30, and this number is calculated by taking $52 and subtracting 63 cents to equal $51.37. So if you were to sell this option, if the share price goes to $51.37, you will break even on the trade. If it goes below $51.37, you will actually be at a unrealized loss. And I say unrealized loss because you will actually be assigned 100 shares of AMD. The next category you can see is a chance of profit. So this is usually calculated based on the Black-Scholes model, and that means that this particular option has a 76.9% chance of being profitable for you. So as I said in the earlier baseball analogy, this means that you have a almost 77% chance of making money from this option trade. You can see as the strike prices get higher, the chance of profit gets lower. So you have to find a chance of profit and a premium that you are comfortable with, and that's how you can choose, or one method you can choose to select your options prices. And this last category shows you the percent change of the premium compared to the prior day. So you can see that that's actually down by 20 cents, which is equivalent to negative 24.1%. So once we expand that box, we can see the bid and the ask price to roughly calculate the spread. So we can see that the bid-ask spread is 4 cents between 61 cents and 65 cents. And we can see currently there are 20 people that are looking to sell this option at 61 cents, and there are 7 people that are looking to buy the option at 65 cents. So this premium price here is usually calculated as the midway point between these two values. But I will say you do not have to settle for this mid price. If you add this to your cart, you can actually adjust this value when the market is open. So I can actually make this 65 cents or 64 cents to try and collect more premium from this option. You may have a harder time getting filled, but that's, again, you have to do a little bit of price discovery to see what the sweet spot is for you. So this is what the mark value is. The mark is usually the mid price between the bid and the ask, and that's what's represented here in this box. You can see that this option previously closed at 83 cents. So that's why we're actually down 20 cents as represented here compared to yesterday's close. And it's been as high as 88 cents and as low as 41 cents. We can also see the volume on this option at almost 4,500 and the open interest at roughly 3,200. So that means that today 4,598 options contracts were opened and closed on this particular strike price. So this volume represents the number of contracts open and closed today. Open interest reflects the number of open orders that are still out there in the market that have not been closed. So this number is the total number of options that have been bought or sold but not completed. And this is over the lifetime of the option, not just for today. Implied volatility for this option is roughly 51%. And then you can get into the Greeks in the bottom below. You can see it has a negative delta of 0.26. You can take a look at the gamma, the theta, the vega, and the rho. And you can use that to determine which strike option you're looking to make a trade on. So that is the extent of options trading on Robinhood. If you're looking into more information, like I said, I would recommend using other platforms such as thinkorswim or other standalone websites such as tradingview.com. There are many options trading websites out there that will help you with your research, such as barchart.com. And you can find your own option screeners as well. Some you have to pay for, some are available to you for free. So I recommend you just do a little bit of Googling, do your own research, see which websites you like. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. But this was just a very quick introduction on how to trade stock options on Robinhood, and happy trading.